What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Jiu-Jitsu Radio / the Corona Chronicles. Is this the season of Corona? Which one is it?
Coronaverse?
Nah. Corona Chronicles? I kind of like Corona Chronicles.
Corona Chronicles? The Corona
Corona arc? This is like the Corona arc. If this was an anime, this would be the Corona
Corona
arc.
Apocalypse.
That one's good. That one's good. I like that one. Listen, before we get started, thank you very much for all your support. Thank you for everyone that's been reaching out to us to try and get their academy up on the podcast. We're trying to do something special by supporting all the academies that haven't had a chance to start training again, ours included. I know we haven't been able to start training. Shawn hasn't been able to start training. And there's a lot of people who creating their academy might have been their lifelong goal to be a business owner. So this is our chance to get them to come onto the podcast, share their story, and hopefully reach out to their community. So once all this is said and done, they'll get even more students to come in and train. That's all we can hope for. So please, if you have an academy you suggest to come onto the podcast, or a professor or a gym owner, go ahead and reach out to us, or have them reach out to us, and we'll do what we can to get them up on the podcast as soon as possible. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button wherever it is.
It's probably over
somewhere down here. Unless you're listening to us on iTunes, then it's just wherever you hit the podcast. Don't forget, we're also available. What's that?
You just reminded me of Beastie Boys. You came real close to the camera.
Oh yeah.
What you want?
There we go. We'll put that on the promo trailer. Don't forget to check out our sponsors. Check out chokealoha.com. Use the promo code Jiu-Jitsu Radio checkout, and you will get 20% off your entire purchase. Regardless.
I just bought something.
Did you?
Yeah.
I got something coming.
So do I. I literally, while we're doing this, I just got the email that said it was sent. I wanted the rash guard.
Yeah, the rash guard's crazy.
The long sleeve one. Yeah.
You can go pick up yours too at chokealoha.com. Use the promo code Jiu-Jitsu Radio and you'll get 20% off. So not only are you going to get some dope gear for when you go back to train, you'll also get it at discount, and you're going to be supporting our sponsors and the Jiu-Jitsu community. It's kind of like a win-win-win. So go for it. Also, don't forget, one of the best ways to fight off coronavirus is by just washing your hands. Just wash your damn hands. Super easy. And you can skip the lines at the grocery store and all those dirty people by ordering it directly from jujitsusoapco.com. And you get 10% off when you use the promo code JJRadio at checkout. I mean, that's kind of like saving the world twice. So, you're welcome. Wash your hands, wash your gi, pick up some patches while you're at it too. jujitsusoapco.com, promo code JJRadio. And last but not least, one of our favorite sponsors.
They're all our favorite sponsors.
I mean, they are. It's true. Good friends of ours as well. GiraffeChoke.com. Pick up your Giraffe Choke gear at a discount. Get 25% off. Orders $99 or more plus free shipping when you go to GiraffeChoke.com and use the promo code JJRadio. You saw me last week rocking the shirt. This week I got my Temple shirt on though. But you can go get. Yeah, thanks. You can go get your shirt, your hat, whatever you want at GiraffeChoke.com. Promo code JJRadio. Now, coming up next onto the podcast is a friend of mine who actually I've done some business with. I was supposed to go to their event. Unfortunately, all this happened, and I've been dying to get
what happened?
This whole pandemic thing or flu.
Oh, is that why I haven't seen anybody doing anything?
Nothing. It was a pan-flu epidemic. But we finally got a chance to get him onto the podcast to really give us an insight, not only about what happened with his event and really explain everything that was going on and what they had to close it down, but what it takes to put on a high-quality jiu-jitsu event that you will see on Flow Grappling or pay-per-view. So without further ado, from Third Coast Grappling, the owner himself, Ryan McGuire.
You can't knee-bar?
Here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence, and nobody can hang with my stuff.
Get stealing, woo, wheeling, dealing, limousine right, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
Go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you to a good friend of mine, the owner of Third Coast Grappling.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going, guys?
This is Ryan McGuire, everybody. Let's give him a round of applause.
No. There might be some booze mixed in there as well, so just be careful.
That's all right. It's always good. How's everything going, man?
It's been going good, man. We've been just trying to adjust to working nonstop and obsessing nonstop on a project to just everything just stopping. And not just like your job stopping, but like you can't train, you can't put together events, you can't, your kids at home all the time, your wife who's going to college, she's home all the time, and it's just all three of us. I work from home, so it's been it took some getting used to. I'm trying to find ways to stay busy, and I don't know, it's a weird feeling right now. I don't really know what to make of it.
It's funny because Shawn and I actually, we've been talking about it a lot the last month or so, and we actually kind of went in a few weeks ago on the whole situation, obviously how it's affecting promoters. You had to cancel your Houston card right before everything really got started, but you didn't really cancel it. You just kind of kept it local for a while, and then you had to kind of close everything out, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically what happened with that was we have somebody that used to work for us on the startup, but I mean, she's still really close to our business. She works on infectious disease. She's a PhD student at one of the number one labs. I mean, she knows her shit. She knows so. We're getting closer to this thing, and ever since January, we've been tracking it as kind of a potential, we need to watch out for, because if this happens, stuff will shut down. It'll impact, people that are coming out and a lot of things. So we were tracking that. And so we saw that Southwest by Southwest canceled the Houston Rodeo. We got some info was going to cancel. All these events were canceling that have never canceled before. And so instead of canceling all the way like people wanted us to initially, I was trying to find a way to just limit the risk to the spread of, COVID-19 by saying, hey, if you're from Florida, if you're from New York or California, these hot spots that are, that as you see now, have unfolded to be kind of the epicenters of whatever's been going on in the U.S. We were just trying to find a way to make the event go on responsibly. And, as we do run kids events and other things, we have a lot of other factors that we got to look at, but we wanted to do what was right for, our community, for our event. And, we ended up having to make a tough decision to limit it to Texas only. So we're trying to book this card, last second, change the card up and get all these Texas athletes. But we realized that it was, as things were changing almost rapidly daily with this thing, it was it's not even worth it to really run it with Texas athletes anymore. And then it got up to the time, I think it was about 2 hours before our weigh-ins for the Texas event. The Texas State Athletic Commission gave guidance to the MMA guys. We're not covered under them, but I kind of follow their guidance. And then talking with our people internally, we were like, look, there's a good chance we won't be able to get the event off tomorrow anyways. So let's go ahead and cancel it. It's the responsible thing to do. Fight to Win had just canceled their event. So it was just kind of let's just cancel. We tried our best to still salvage a show, but it wasn't meant to me, but we hope to get that one back when, whenever we can start getting back to business.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's one of those things that a lot of these guys don't realize everything that it takes and the amount of money it takes to put events together. So how did the actual venue kind of treat you once you had to cancel everything?
Man, and honestly, one thing that's great about Houston and kind of the relationships I've built. I worked in music for a little while before I came into the grappling side of things. So I have a lot of relationships, and one of them is a guy that I kind of came up with. He runs a lot of big venues across the country, and one of them is Warehouse Live, where we throw Third Coast Grappling, the big events at. So with him, he doesn't even charge me a venue rental fee.
Nice.
I don't have the $10,000 fee right off the top that a lot of promoters do. I've got a great deal with them. I mean, they've been super supportive that anything we want to do, they've supported us from day one. I mean, it's a relationship that goes back 10 years. So, I mean, I'm just fortunate to have those industry relationships to keep our costs down, but also, to kind of establish that's kind of where we do our thing at.
That's awesome, man. That's definitely a nice little fee to get waived.
Yeah. So it just depends, man. I mean, the cost that goes into it is of course there's always an upfront cost. We don't get our licensing fees from Flow Grappling, until usually maybe a month or two after the event. So, there's a substantial amount of money that we have to back still. And we always have our backers. We get creative with it. Like I said, we're not a Kasai that has, the deep pockets they do, or an ADCC with their deep pockets, or Seth who has the longevity and the business sense and kind of the model built up. So we've kind of, me and my partner are just kind of bootstrapped, our business and we just get through it event by event. That's how we take it. And the last 3, we started turning a profit. And this one, was set up to turn a profit as well. But it wasn't sustainable, I don't think, long term, because it was a mixture of like investors and backers and sponsors and this and that. And eventually, that well's going to run dry. So, that's where we're kind of switching our mindset now to try to make it more sustainable, more about turning a profit than we did in the beginning.
Yeah, but I mean,
right.
Go ahead.
I come from the world, before I got into jiu-jitsu, I was a professional wrestler for about 15 years. So I know the headaches and the logistic problems of putting on an event. What actually prompted you to go, you know what, I'm going to put on one of these events. Let me get into this. What was that mindset?
Honestly, I was sitting there there was a local event I went to. I'm not going to name any names. It's not that I thought their event sucked or this or that. It's just, I sat there and I was like, man, this is professional grappling. Like, I can do this. Like this, from my background in music and my music production, I've toured with some of the biggest names that you can think of. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be a name dropper, but I've toured, I've produced, I've played, I'm a musician myself. And, it was like, if I can somehow replicate the energy and the atmosphere of a badass rock concert, but instead of the musicians, use the athletes as the musicians, and just have a lot of smoke and a little bit of pro wrestling influence into it, because I love that shit too, and just kind of mix it all together. And that's kind of what we got now. My background in production, I have a great team that runs that. So I think, like I said, it was mainly just kind of having that moment where I think a lot of promoters do, where they go and they're like, oh, okay, I can do something. And sometimes you really can do something, and other times you get in over your head and things happen, unfortunately, that, if you would have, that could have been prevented.
At what point on that first card that you threw did you go, what the hell did I get into?
Man, it was before the first card even started. Me and my partner came in the industry as like brand new blue belts. Like, I always followed the sport kind of, I wouldn't say obsessively, but I followed it. I started watching competitive grappling when EBI 1 came out, like before I was even training. So it was, I've always been, familiar, and in my time in the military as well with, our exposure to combatives. But it was like, okay, I'm doing jiu-jitsu. The things that I've been able to do in my life that I've done the best, I've had passions with. I did great things in music for a little bit. I had my struggles with my demons, during all that. But, after music, I went over, and it's the same thing. It's the jiu-jitsu, the passion, the ability to put on a show. So it's just, I don't know, it just seemed like a natural marriage.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's the funny part. That's why, like, I can tell, like, you and I have, like, the same mind frame, just because it's similar backgrounds just with music and everything. And when I see events that go on, and I see how you can always tell the difference between someone who knows the fuck that they're doing and then the other ones that got in over their head. And it, like, when the cost, you look at it, and the cost, like, for sure you got taken on that rigging cost. For sure you got taken on that screen cost. Like, just because all the, the venue will just say, oh yeah, well, that's an extra $5,000. Oh, that's going to cost more. It's like, man, if you don't know how to work those deals, that bank account is going to get empty pretty quick. And especially when you're dealing with investors. I mean, like you said, you had those investors, and then with everything that's going on, and those would have been a lot of people that were losing money pretty hard at the worst possible time.
Yeah, and it wasn't even really about them. We had our backers. I mean, I did a podcast last night. One of them was on there with me. So all the news that came out about, Third Coast Grapplings, they're broke, or they're this or they're that. I mean, our attorneys handled that. They sent their cease and desist, and Basically what that was we canceled our card. It pissed some people off. Some people had some assumptions based on where that we were in the coronavirus kind of atmosphere at that point. I mean, it was still, some people are like, this is bullshit, whatever. But we kind of got ahead of the game because we still wanted to try and salvage a card. That was the whole point of it. And then we didn't want to be irresponsible and be bringing in cases from all over the world if this thing was rapidly evolving like it was. So we ended up, doing what we had to do. But when it came down to it, it wasn't really investor based. It was just more or less just the right thing to do. And imagine having to cancel it in the middle of fight week. I mean, we did the fighters a favor, I think,
Sure.
doing it the week before fight, or that Friday before fight week, because, people already are starting to travel. We had people coming in from Europe. So, I mean, it just wasn't the responsible thing to do. But, investor wise, stuff like that, it was more or less just a decision we had to make as a business. And it was either continue on and take tons of heat and feel shitty about it and possibly get somebody sick, or do the responsible thing. And even at the end of all of this, like the 14th, it wouldn't have happened anyways.
Yeah.
It got canceled. So
yeah, I got lucky that you made the announcement when you did, because I was flying out there too. So I only had gotten my flight at that point in time. So I was kind of holding off on the hotel, and like the hotel I can always get. That's always like an easy last minute thing. But then the flights were a pain, man. Thank God for Amex, because I got that money back. I don't care what airline you're with. I'm getting that money back.
No, for sure, man.
Ryan, you said you were a musician.
Yeah.
What do you play?
Well, I wouldn't say like I'm a musician. I worked in the music industry, but no, I played guitar for like almost 20 years. But my friends are the musicians. I'm kind of, yeah.
But see, okay, so Alex is a guitarist. You're a guitarist.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I see guitarists and tattoo artists get into jiu-jitsu, I think to myself, are you guys stupid or crazy? Because what this sport does to your fingers is almost, you cannot come back from.
Man.
Like whatever, when I see like tattoo artists who make a living with their fingers, making sure they can do that, or a musician doing that, it's like, what makes you guys think, oh, this is a good idea? Let me wrap my fingers in somebody else's clothes and let them rip it off as hard as possible.
Yeah, that's never that's always something to look at. But when it came down, music for me early, I started playing guitar when I was like 13 or 14. It was that same obsession that I had with music, throwing shows, producing shows, tour managing, that I have with throwing jiu-jitsu shows with jiu-jitsu. It's like those things that I think you go throughout life that you find what really lights you up. And it's always been either music for me or jiu-jitsu now, so it's just go with what burns you up, man. I think life's too short. I mean, not everybody has that novelty. I still got to work my ass off in other avenues, but I definitely do pursue, what I'm passionate about day to day. And I think that's what everybody else should do as well.
It's funny too. It's just one of those things. If you dedicate your life to playing guitar or like doing tattoos and stuff, you're probably not making good decisions anyway. So you kind of just go with it. But I mean, there does come a time like where I had to, when I broke this finger and like I was stuck like this for a year. So good luck trying to play guitar with a finger that's permanently jacked like this. But then you look at, there's certain guitar players out there that have issues with their hands anyway, and they had no problem with it. Like Django Reinhardt, like he sliced his hand, so he got stuck just this. He only had two fingers. Became one of like the best guitar players of all time.
Yep.
And so like he literally defined a genre of music. So it's one of those things like you kind of just say, you know what, you're gonna end up losing your hands when you get older anyway. You might as well do it doing something you love doing.
Learning how to strangle people.
Yeah, and like I don't even play music for a living. A lot of my friends do play music for a living. Mine's more hobbyist type stuff. I used to do my thing back in the day. I write music, help produce and stuff. But yeah, I mean, if I broke my fingers, it would just be like, well, you don't get to annoy the wife for a couple of weeks, so you're good.
Yeah, it's one of those things you just kind of go with it. And it's like when you get to high level guitar players, though, when you're talking about professionals,
oh yeah,
like they won't even shake your hand like after shows and stuff like that. They won't do it.
Like vocalists are the same way. Like high level vocalists, they won't even talk to you sometimes before the show.
Yeah.
Like Miles Kennedy from Alter Bridge, like he goes like full silent like the day of the gig because of how much strains on his voice.
Yeah, like when I worked for Joe Bonamassa, like after a couple of years, it got to the point, because he would always go after the shows and go and meet everybody. It got to the point where like he would wear gloves, like tight mechanic gloves, to kind of keep a compression on his hand, and wouldn't shake anybody's hand for hours after the show.
Man,
so I was like, yeah, it happens. There's a lot of people like that. Is it Keith Richards? He's got his hands insured for like a couple $1 million.
Yeah, that's what those guys got to do, man. I mean, you got to take care of the money makers, like your partner was saying. I mean, but thank God I don't have to make my money or make my living playing music. I don't think anybody buy it. So
I mean, I would have been screwed, especially like if you want to hear like how bad it is, just go walk around Nashville, and when you see the buskers and people playing in the streets that are better than you, like, man, I guess I'm screwed then.
Ryan, let me ask you a question. Another question here. How does it feel going from being like this white belt to now you're on the phone with some of the highest level grapplers on the planet and saying, "Hey, come grapple for my show"? Like, how was that? A little bit of a surreal, getting used to, or are you just, it's just one of those things you're just like, it's a business.
I mean, it definitely. I think my time in music really helped me because I don't get starstruck. Like I don't get to where like I meet these guys and I'm like, oh my God, it's so and so, or like I just don't get like that. But I think it did take some getting used to, because doing business in the jiu-jitsu world is a lot different than doing jiu-jitsu, I think, in any world. So, but no, my professor is Professor Draculino Vinicius Magalhaes. He's a kind of a Gracie Baja legend, and he's been in the game. I mean, he brought jiu-jitsu, but he was one of the pioneers to bring jiu-jitsu into America, into Texas and stuff like that. But, he's been a good counsel. My professor as well, Brandon Mullins, he's a world champion. I've had some good people that have been able to help keep me grounded and kind of steer me around. And then even some internal mentors, me and Seth Daniels from Fight to Win, we butt heads a lot, but, he's giving me some great advice. And then, there've been people throughout the industry that have given me a lot of help, but yeah, I think it goes back to just not really being starstruck. They're the same as we are, and most of them, they just want to be treated like normal people. Like when we like Gordon Ryan, for instance, like people will freak the fuck out when they get around him, like at seminars and stuff. Like they get all like weird and they don't want to like they're afraid to talk. But it's just a normal guy. Like these people just want to be talked to, and some of them, don't get me wrong, some of them love also the pomp and the red carpet and like the give me the only green M&M treatment, but for the most part, jiu-jitsu athletes aren't there yet to where they can have those kind of egos, or at least in my opinion, at least.
Have you had that no brown M&Ms request yet?
Man,
you don't have to name names, but you can.
To be honest with you, just the silliest stuff I normally get is like travel requests or lodging or this. Or, can you fly my coach out and my wife? Can you? I'm like no, like that's like
not vacation, bro.
Like this is like hundreds of dollars. But I don't get mad at these guys for asking for stuff like that. I mean, it's a negotiation. Like if you don't ask for stuff, how do you expect to get it? So I mean, like shoot your shot, ask. Yeah. I got more respect for you if you do. I mean, or you could be passive aggressive, not ask for what you want, fight for us, and then be kind of low key mad where you feel like you got cheated because you didn't speak up. Like it's a business. Like let's talk about it. Like,
well, you actually you kind of got stuck in a weird situation because obviously everything that happened with the coronavirus and having to shut down the event, but you also indirectly had to deal with the backlash of everything that happened with Substars and not paying all their fighters. So when you see something like that, I personally, I kind of get aggravated, obviously, because I know all the fighters. I'm friends with so many of them, and I hate to see people get shafted. But then I also get mad from an event organizer point of view, where it's like, man, this is stuff that you should have been already planned out for. Like, this is the number one thing. Like, you can't have talent and not schedule that in, budget that in.
No, yeah. Honestly, the stuff that happened after that was really unfair, and that was probably like the most heat that we've ever had to deal with as a business. And it was unfair heat, but I get it. I've said it in other interviews, like post Substars, people were worried about getting paid. With the coronavirus, people were still thinking it was bullshit. The stuff with us, me and Mo's disagreement. I think it is people were trying to posture, and they said a lot of things that were wrong, that were flat out untrue. I mean, there was a whole article made that was just fabricated. I mean, I don't know who their sources are, but I think if you're gonna talk shit about somebody in an article, don't hide behind anonymous sources. I know who the anonymous sources are now. Like nobody stays anonymous forever. Like who the fuck are you? Like who are you playing? Yeah. And you know what? I don't say anything. I'm the type that'll sit here and I'll hold the knowledge back, and I'll know who the snake is and who isn't. I'll know who to work with and who not to. And it's when we made the decision that we did, we were leading from the front in our eyes. We were like, hey, we've got to do it. As soon as we did it, Keenan closed his gym, and it was just kind of a matriculation of things that kind of just unfolded as now the whole industry is shut down. We were just one of the first. Substars had just happened. Fighters were being guaranteed this money. People were being flown in. I mean, you were one of our content guys. I mean, we were sending people all over the country for this. It's not like we weren't. Yeah. We were like, we're gonna do all this, work, invest all this money to cancel our event and screw everybody over. Because number one, who's getting screwed over here? Like, we barely break even, or we lose money. Like you think we're out here trying to rip you guys off? Like, no, it was a decision that we thought in our hearts was the right thing. I have. It hit close to home for my family. I have a grandfather that got really ill. My wife was really ill, and we don't know. I didn't take my wife to go do all that business, but there's just a lot going on, man. And it was unfair to come at us that way in that article. So I just kind of responded as professionally as I could. On Reddit, there was a thread. I went in there and just kind of laid my points out. Like, what do you want from me? Like, oh, you're calling me poor, or you're calling me that my business is you're getting mad at me. Like, even if it was true, even if we said, oh man, fuck, we're not gonna be able to pay the fighters, let's hide behind. Even if we did do that, it is better than throwing an event and not paying the fucking fighters. Yeah. So even if that was true, which it's not, like, how are you even getting mad at anybody in this situation? I'm sorry your guys didn't get to fight. I'm sorry that, the whole industry shut down, but we'll be back, and fucking relax. It's jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, that's the part that people like just don't get. It's like, would you have rather come on and then me afterwards say, sorry, can't pay you? Like, that shit wouldn't fly. Like, of course it wouldn't fly. And then that would, if anything, that would have done more damage to the whole community than anything else.
And we tried to keep the event going. We tried to keep it on. We tried to keep it, Texas only by, like I said, limiting people that were coming from other parts of the country as part of kind of like a spread kind of kind of just to do our part to where we felt, comfortable doing it. And then the venue cut the capacity down to 250 people and under, and then they cut it down to 50 people. And then eventually all gatherings were, thrown off. But it was just a decision we made. There were people with an axe to grind. There was some stuff that got out of sorts between like our camp, and I think it was just a misunderstanding. And like I said, a lot of the guys that came out against us have apologized. We've talked privately and handled it like men, and we're moving on. We're going to keep running our business. They're going to run theirs. And but I did learn a lot about it. It's like, if I'm out there being so brash and so cocky and so arrogant, selling my matches and saying we're the best and we're the greatest and we're this and that, and I do that as just kind of a shtick to sell the product, to get people excited. But when you're out there and you're pushing your product that way and you're acting that way, when you do have a little bit of a stumble or a perceived stumble, people are gonna take turns kicking. Oh, I mean, they're like, oh, we smell blood. I'm like, but wait, guys, we're not going anywhere. So take your shots now. And then people are going to remember when we come back and do our next show, and it'll be.
Are you one of those people that are like, you take that mental note, like, all right, noted, like that person said this, like said that kind of shit, like, got you.
I've actually used to live my life like that. I mean, I do still thrive on spite motivation. Like, if somebody tells me that I can't do something, like, I'm going to do everything in my power to prove to you that I'm going to do something. And that's including staying in the industry. And that's including making my business profitable. And that's including continuing to kick people's asses. Because I'm telling you, our ratings this year on Flow Grappling, I'm not going to sit here and flex too much, but we broke some records. Third Coast Grappling 3 was maybe one of the biggest events they've ever done outside of ADCC. And, I know for a fact that what we're doing is working, and that our brand of jiu-jitsu and our product was catching on. And people could say whatever they want. Oh, it's not sustainable. They're a flash in the pan. But you've only seen 3 of our events on Flow. Like, we've had 7 events.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't like, oh, we're on event number 3, time for number 4. Like, not only have we done 3 big major events, we did 3 qualifier events where we ran tournament brackets, and then we did a kids only super fight event, which was like the first of its kind, which sold out ridiculously everywhere. So we're out here trying to do these innovative things without the big money backers, without that, with just trying to get creative with it, get sponsors involved, investors, and just try and build it that way. These other guys are out there trying to make a profit every day, and I get it. That's great, and that's where we're moving to. But in the beginning, you have to kind of have a mindset that this is for marketing. This is just to get your name out there, and you're going to have to do some things and maybe some expensive things to make it happen. So
yeah. Well, that's what I said. When we first started talking, that's what I said. Like, I was a big fan of the whole formula and everything you have put together, and like I could tell the difference on who's putting the show together. And Shawn and I have kind of gone back and forth about the subject before, like why certain events don't work out, like compared to the ones that know what's going on and what to do. I mean, it's there's a reason why, and it's not like me trying to sit there and blow smoke up your ass. Like, there's a reason why things are working, because you're coming from a background of the experience, and knows like that's how you put on a show. This is the bills that you got to deal with. This is how you have to deal with everything else that's coming your way. Most people can't handle that, and that's why you see some events don't happen. Like, they'll happen once every year maybe, or they'll cancel last second and then say, oh well, we moved to Mexico, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like with all the event stuff, look, our people can say what they want. They don't know our financials. They don't know what we're working with, but they do know, we came out, it was this is like our first year. Like, this is like our white belt years as being a promoter. And we came out and we garnered more attention in our first year. And I'm not being cocky or being an asshole. I'm just like stating facts. Like, we had an over 80% submission rate across all of our events this last year. 7 events, over 80% of our matches ended by submission. That's unheard of. And then you go into our numbers that we did on Flow Grappling, and then you go into the fact that we were selling out venues so badly that we had, we just weren't seeing it. We know we had something special. So it's, we're just going to continue on, man. I mean, people can say what they want. There's always going to be people that are going to try and tear you down or think that they know something, but like I've told everybody out there, if you've got anything you want to say, you want to mention me, you want to talk, I'm easy to get a hold of. I'll be happy to debate you.
I'm right here.
Just stop talking bullshit. Like, if you got a problem with me, if you got a problem with our business or how we do things, like come talk to me. I'm an easy man to find.
That's funny.
As far as trying to get sponsors for jiu-jitsu events, how often do you walk or talk to somebody and say, yeah, we're a jiu-jitsu, and they go, Jew what?
And that's kind of the thing. Like, look, a lot of our stuff has been internal people, like with people that we train with that believe in it, that have seen it from the beginning, that have come up, that they wanted to get some money in it. They wanted to support, they want to do this. Or then also some of the blue chip sponsors. I went out to Twin Peaks and got them, and I have to sell them. They're into the whole UFC fight thing. So, I'm in there, I'm like, look, this is basically like the UFC without striking. We're trying to have this environment. And it also helps that one of my best friends, his brother-in-law runs the whole thing, but that helps.
It's usually good. Well, I love how you throw that in at the very end.
Well, I have to.
It was a struggle. I had to fight tooth and nail, so many meetings, but then
Nah, it's all about relationships, man. Like, my networks from throwing events and all that stuff. It's the same shit. Like, I reach out to my friends that run beer companies, or I reach out to my guy at Twin Peaks. We signed a new deal right before this last one for them to be the official home of our weigh-in events and nice. Parties and all that stuff. So it's, we still have a lot of momentum coming out of this. We had to cancel the event. Everybody had to cancel their events. And, people talk shit about it. People look stupid talking shit about it. I look stupid talking shit about stuff all the time. So, like, I'm not holding any grudges.
Twin Peaks isn't a bad place for an after party. That's all I'm saying.
No, I mean, or a before party, whatever, or a weigh-in party, or any party in general. But no, guys, it's all good. It's all good vibes on our end now. We're not trying to fight with nobody. We're just trying to throw whenever we can, throw good shows, and hopefully, once people get back to work, I think everybody will forget about this stuff pretty quickly.
I would be totally like Seth. I would go the Seth route and just rip people apart on a daily and just like, oh, I got time. Like,
man, with that, like, my thing is like he can do that. Like he's a black, he's a black belt. He's been in the game a long time, and that's his personality. But and me, maybe on the inside, I'm even more savage than that. Like the stuff that I'm thinking, I want to put out there. Like, but
there's a consequence to what you say
in
this business, right?
but if you come at me, I'm gonna come back at you. But it's gonna be logical. It's gonna be measured. You're never gonna see me out there, you fucking pussy piece of shit. Like, it's just not my style. You know what I mean? Like, I think that there, as part of being jiu-jitsu, grappling, whatever, being a martial art, I think there is, the way I was brought up, at least a code of ethics, or the way you act in publicly, the way I'm out here acting publicly is a direct reflection on my team, on my professor, on people that that are supporting me as well. So I like to go out there and just try and keep it PG-13. But if it has to get rated R, leave the kids at home, because
we can make this happen.
Yeah, we can do that too. It doesn't matter. Like I'm not hiding from anybody. We're just trying to run our business, and if people don't like it, like, I don't fucking care anymore. Like, worry about your like worry about your own business. Like, stop worrying about my matchmaking. Stop worrying about my business. Stop worrying about whatever. Worry about the $300,000 that we paid out in fighter pay our first year as a brand new promotion in this business.
That's unheard of.
$300,000 directly into the economy. So you want to say we overpaid fighters? Of course we did. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Like, I didn't know what these guys cost. Like, I was just shooting in the dark in some cases, and I knew we'd have to overpay to get in the market anyways. So it's kind of like, all right, well, we'll overpay. We'll get these matches. We'll mark it up to marketing expenses. And eventually, we were getting it nailed down. And now with the big pause, it's going to reset everything.
Yeah.
The guys that were making the 10 grand are asking for this, like that. That's going to be cut in half, I would say. Like, I don't know where the market's going to be at, because you think people are going to want to come out to and pack out a live music venue, right after all this stuff?
I think so, for sure.
I want them to. I hope they do.
There's a friggin' goddamn raccoon behind you or something, man.
A raccoon?
Oh, the dog.
No, there was a cat. It looks like a raccoon. I was like, watch out, man.
There's a dog right here. He's just hanging out right here.
Right. You know what's funny is I have a buddy that trains. He lives in Houston. From my pro wrestling days, he actually trains at Champions, Gracie Barra Champions.
Yeah.
His name is Hassan. He was in the WWE for a while, MVP.
I know who you're talking about.
He's a purple belt there. Like, I'm sure he would love to do one of those events, and he's got the following, from WWE, because I think he just started working for them again.
Bro, are you making a deal right now?
Nothing.
Are you trying to pull manager deals or something?
Hey,
no, I'm just saying. Because here's the thing. Talk about outside of the box. This guy's he's a purple belt under. I can't remember who teaches over there at Gracie Barra Champions, but
I think it's Professor Andres Santos. I can't remember, but it's part of our family. Like, Professor Dracolino, my professor, is the regional director for all of Texas, so all the GBs fall under him. So
because Hassan has told me that he's gone to Dracolino's academy once with his professor before. Mm. I just think it's weird how you don't realize certain places have become jiu-jitsu centric. Like obviously South Florida, where we're from, you can't throw a stone without hitting a gym. I mean, I have my own gym. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. But like, here, California, New York, obviously, in the city is starting, that's another mecca. But no one thinks, okay, Texas.
That's why when I said, you know what, the Houston Jiu-Jitsu community, I've never seen anything like it in terms of like support and just what people were thirsty for jiu-jitsu. Like, Houston was always kind of left out, was like, they would get a good seminar every now and then, or they would this. And like I said, I just got my purple belt a few months ago. I don't know the fucking deep, dark history of Houston jiu-jitsu or whatever, but I know what I've witnessed. And, people tell us all the time, they're like, man, thank you so much for the show, what you brought in. You're always bringing in so many high athletes. I think just with Coast Grappling being involved in Houston, we've been able to elevate the level of jiu-jitsu just because all the competitors that are coming in that are doing these seminars, and then the events themselves have given teams a chance to really do a lot of, you know, team bonding. We don't allow kids at our events, so it's more of a kind of let loose party. You know, we get one of our beer sponsors gives out free beer, like that free beer to us. Like all of our VIP table purchasers have access to a free private bar, and it's free beer till it runs out, and it hardly ever runs out. So we're basically getting everybody liquored up. We're having a good time. We're throwing fucking grappling events, right? Doing tag team matches. We're going to have a Royal Rumble this last event, and that shit. I think I was more upset that didn't happen probably than anything, but mark my words, next event back, we're having the Royal Rumble, real Royal Rumble.
How much are these VIP tables so I know how much to put away?
Oh, for you guys, if y'all are really coming out, man, I'll take care of you guys for sure. Yeah, well, don't worry about it. But no,
I don't know about him. He doesn't even drink beer, so I'll take his share. But for sure, I'll be there. I was planning on going out there regardless, just because of the event. The card that you had put together was so sick. So and you know, I had just seen Gordon a couple of weeks before and Patrick Gaudio and stuff. So like I was so hyped for that card. So I was super bummed when it got closed out.
Yeah, it broke my heart too, man. And it was just, I didn't really know how to deal with it. I'm like, okay, all of a sudden everything is stopping. Like everything, because like I quit my day job like 7 months prior in oil and gas. I was making good money. I was doing that just to chase this focus because it needed my full attention. Because day to day it was me. I do the matchmaking. I do the content management. You know, with you guys, I'm constantly. I direct. I produce. I mean, it's just you have to do everything as a startup business owner or just in general. And so I'm real hands on. So it was just something, everything was changing constantly. And then when we canceled it, we're like, well, there goes, let's just pay everybody's travel expenses back. Patrick Gaudio, you know, I went out there and paid him $1,000 on top, just to help with, you know, his training camp expenses on top of, you know, we paid everybody's travel expenses. And, you know, the guys like the Mo Johnson matches that they moved up to Fight to Win Dallas. Those were matches that I made, you know, like me and Mo had worked on. And, you know, those guys were pissed off because they were like, oh, it's bullshit. You know, you were, you know, you're just hiding behind coronavirus. Like you can't afford it. Because we'd been going around trying to like fund some expansion plans for our business. Like, I'm sorry for going and asking for money to fund my business, because try going into a traditional lending source and saying, hey, I own a grappling promotion and here's my business plan. Please give me some money. They're like, the exits that way.
But here's the thing, right? How many people who really know what they're talking about are shitting on you guys?
It's been very little. I mean, very small amount.
It's idiots on Reddit. It's idiots on you know, social media. That, you know, it's the weirdest thing in America, man, is we love to hate on success. It's one of the things that is I've never been able to put my finger on.
No, but that's everywhere though. I mean, there's like, you go to Brazil and it's always like, if you come in like, or if you go to Italy, like, you know, you could be from nothing to something and you come back in with that new car or whatever. And people are like, who's this punk think he is?
Yeah, but then
like yourself. Like, what's
weird is then when you fall, they root for you to get back up sometimes.
Well, and right now, like like I said, I got no beef. I squashed all my stuff with all these promotions or whatever. I got a lot of love for Seth. I got love for Mo. I got love for everybody out there going out there trying to do something for jiu-jitsu. This is a reset button for everybody. We gotta all go out there. We gotta, you know, hopefully jiu-jitsu bounces back these gym owners that aren't so fortunate, you know, to have a month's backing or two. You know, hopefully their landlords worked with them and helped them keep their businesses in shape. And you know, that's my biggest thing, is just what is the industry going to look like on the other side of this? And is it even going to even be able to be feasible to even think about throwing events the rest of the year even? I mean, if we get back to training, maybe July, they're like, okay, maybe.
Well, yeah, there's gonna be ramifications. They say till August at least, right?
Well, did you see the Submission Underground when they, like, the Chael put it on? There was nobody there. There's probably like 4 people in the entire room.
And that takes our show. Like, that's my show though, is like the live show. Like, we pack it with drunk, crazy jiu-jitsu fanatics.
You're the Kiss of grappling.
That's basically, like, we want to put on a fucking show. Like, that's the whole point of it. Like, people get so mixed up on, like, all right, well, it's for the practitioner. We got to look after the athletes. We got to make it pure to the rules. We got to do it. We got to honor Master Helio. We got to make sure this is perfect. I'm like, no, you got to make it
America,
entertaining.
Jack.
No, you got to make it American. You got to make it entertaining. And like, that was something we did, was making grappling great again. We're like, let's fucking do something. Let's go out with the Donald Trump message.
Did you see that?
I love it. I was
like, did you just read my hat, or was that?
But we actually have a hat. We actually have a hat like that. It says "Make Grappling Great Again." It's on our Third Coast Grappling shop. But that was kind of our thing. We're like, look, man, like, we're going out to these shows, and I'm watching literally like family members out there to see their son asleep with their head in their hand. Like, I'm like, come on, man. Like, there's got to be something. And so I was like, you come to our show, we have people constantly like, I've never even I don't even know how to say jiu-jitsu, and I want to come back to this. This is the best time I've ever had in my life. And that's what you want to do. You got to capture the non-practitioner at your show, the one that's buying the tickets to support, little Kung Fu Johnny on the stage. You want to capture that person just as much as you want, because the practitioner is always going to come. Yeah. You just got to capture the people that come, that are there for the first time.
Now, do you talk to the fighters about that? Do you say, hey guys, play it up a little bit, or do you not have to say anything to them?
Man, honestly, a lot of these guys, they say that our stage is not like anything they've done before, because you've got 1,500 screaming people. I'm talking like slam-packed venue. You've got flow grappling cameras everywhere. You got this big, crazy pro wrestling walk through a packed crowd all the way through up to the mats. And some of the athletes have told me that it freezes them up. There was one that said that he froze and then he got guillotined in like 3 seconds. So I'm serious. Like,
well, no, I get it, dude. One of the like,
it's not for everybody.
I've competed every year, since I started. I've competed multiple times a year, and I've never had that freeze moment, because I had 13 years in professional wrestling where I was in a ring in the center of thousands of people and having to deal with that. I've never had to deal with that shot of adrenaline that you get when all of a sudden you realize all these people are here to see you, and then that's that moment. Yeah. And I think a lot of these athletes, like, even though like they'll do like a tournament where there's multiple matches going on at once, you can kind of get through that by going, you know what, they're really not watching me, they're watching everybody else. In an event like yours where you are the sole focus, not everybody's ready for that.
We have tables that people pay $1,000 for, lining the side of the mat too. So you have not only the mats being lined by people that are literally on top of you as you grapple, you have 1,500 people in the audience looking at you with, it's just, like I said, it's like, if you guys can make it out to when we do a next one, I promise you guys that it'll be, that's where we sell it the best, is if we can get you to our live show. I'm telling you, that's where it's at. And that's how I think we eventually, can continue to grow it, is that, we had the show with the UK we were going to do with our friends at Grapple Fest that we had to cancel. And then we had a show that we literally, I have the contracts booked, or, well, I don't know what the hell to do now, in Los Angeles to do the kind of the Third Coast versus West Coast shows we were going to do. And then I had New Jersey for October that we were going to do. So it's like we had all these big plans, but the economics of the sport, I don't think, are going to support being able to do those expansion plans this year. I think that's going next year.
It would be, I think you're in your lane right now, and with everything going on, it makes sense to just stay at home.
Yeah.
Just stay at home. Like, something that we learned in pro wrestling, like, was like, big names will bring some people in, but what you want is you want the people that are in the area supporting the product to come to the show. And what better way to do that than to put the guys that are there right now that people are going to come and watch.
Man, a lot of people don't know this. Most of the undercard and a lot of our main card is all local Houston or Texas athletes. Like, that's my thing. Like, I like to, or Third Coast, like even you guys in Florida, like anybody that's down in the Southeast United States, like, we want to elevate that part, because it doesn't have to be California. Like, there's not, a lot of people are just California transplants. They go there because it's always been considered the Mecca of jiu-jitsu. And that's great. Like, every time I go to California, I get to go do some cool training. I go to Keenan's, or I go do, like, I love California. But it's getting to the point to where it's like, there's other places. Like, you come to Houston, I've not and this is, like I said, not bragging again, I haven't thrown a show I haven't sold out. Like, our qualifiers events are the only ones that don't, like, but their tables always sold out. But to where it wasn't like crazy. And our kids event was like so sold out. Like, we had parents so pissed off that they couldn't buy tickets to get in. Like it was that sold out.
That's awesome.
But our numbered events that we do, like the big ones we've done, like the Gordon Ryans, and those events they sell out. I think this last one, 3CG4, sold out a month in advance completely. Yeah. Like tickets, tables, everything. So we have the support of the community, and it goes into just building with those guys, like, you know, fostering good relationships with the black belt leaders in the area, and like having their support. Because I mean, it's one thing to go out and have, like, you know, blue belt Johnny compete against so-and-so on your card, and you just go to him and you talk to him. But if you can get the professor of that academy to compete along with blue belt Johnny, you're not only going to get the people that blue belt Johnny might have known, you'll get how professors are. They're going to have the whole damn academy out there to support him, you know? Yeah. So it's like people have to take a different way of look at matchmaking as well. And this is stuff I learned just watching, you know, guys like Seth or whoever, like, man, why are all these old black belts on that card? I got it now.
Yeah. it puts asses in seats one way or another.
So it's just a learning process, man. We're not in it to make a whole ton of money. Like, that's not what we got into this to do. We got into it to make some big changes. And if the money if we do a good enough job, we always thought if the idea was viable, if the market was viable, the money would come. And, you know, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. That's all we want to, and, you know, stay out of the drama, stay out of our own way sometimes, and, you know, tighten things up. Because like I said, it was very grassroots. We don't have any paid employees. I haven't been paid out of this at all. Like, my partner hasn't been paid. Like, I think we both, we did our taxes this year. We took like $40,000 losses each.
Yeah.
Just on the business.
Just so keep that money away from Uncle Sam.
Yeah. So it's, so we took some losses, man. Like, it's not like we're out here, you know, we're out here like swimming in the bucks. We're just trying to do something cool for the sport, trying to throw cool shows and kind of infuse our version of grappling with pro wrestling and just make grappling great again, like I said.
Yeah. The big thing for me that I'm looking forward to now is seeing what Dana White is going to do with this next card with the UFC 249. Because there was the jokes running around saying that we were going to do the can you still hear us? Okay, just making sure. With the card, he was joking about even like getting a private island to do the fight card. Did you see that, Shawn?
Yeah, well, it's going to be like the first WrestleMania. It's going to be taking place in like multiple different places.
Well, they're going to do it on tribal land. Is what's really going to happen. But I was thinking, man, that would literally be the best way to kickstart everything all over again. If you can seriously do Mortal Kombat style, you're going to get a private island and do a card right there.
Man, everybody's talking about that. The only person that's got money to pull some shit off like that is Mo Jossum. Yeah. And I don't know, or Jassim, however you say his name, I don't know. But it's that's the only guy that has that kind of money. Like, the kind of like, fuck you, I'm gonna go get an island and throw an event on it. He's him, or like Robert Zepps, or like those big, you know, those big super rich, or Rich Byrne from Kasai is like worth billions. Like, go get an island, have fun, guys. I love the sport, but I'm not buying a fucking island for grapplers to come bitch at me because I didn't get their I don't know. Like,
yeah.
Like,
it would turn into a grappling fire fest.
Well, no, here's the thing. Like,
that's exactly what would happen. Yeah.
I was thinking about it, like, just really playing it out. Like, would it be possible? 100% it would be possible. But there's only one person that would literally rent out his private island right now at dirt cheap cost. And that would just be Johnny Depp, because that dude needs so much money. So I was thinking, like, man, it would be doable. Dana White could call up Johnny Depp, be like, the island's mine for the next week. We're doing fights.
But and that's what I'm saying. Like, these guys are like jumping through all these like insane hoops. They're like, man, I'm gonna throw an event at any event. And look, I even looked at doing spectatorless stuff and like all of it. Eventually I was like, man, look, people gave us so much shit because we canceled early here, and now we're going to be out there being the only one doing events during the pandemic. So look, I look at stuff from a PR perspective a lot, because I like as you see in this interview, I'm pretty unfiltered. I just talk whatever, like, but it's going to piss people off sometimes. But
good, fuck them.
But yeah, but I'm to the point now. Fuck them. Like, they have nothing to do with my business. They're not giving me any money. They're not doing me any favors. And for the most part, some of them I've just pulled knives out of my back recently from. So it's kind of like we're just trying to like just do our own thing. I'm staying in my lane. I got my blinders on, do what you want to do. When the sport comes back, we're going to throw our events. We're going to do something special for the industry. And hopefully keep doing some of these co-promotions like we wanted to. I've talked to Kasai. I've talked to, we had the Grapple Fest one on the books. I've even talked to Seth about doing a big fight to win in Houston. I'm open to work with whoever is up to do something badass. I mean, that's kind of, I think, where the industry needs to go as well.
Yeah, it would be dope to have a fight to win champs versus Third Coast champs.
Yeah.
Do you have a top 3 matches you'd love to make, but have not been able to make it happen for one reason or another? It doesn't matter, but is there 3 top matches that you would love to make but just haven't had the chance to yet?
Man, the thing that's weird about jiu-jitsu is like how accessible everybody is. So it's not like, man, it's like I have to go through this and jump through fire. Like trying to talk to Conor McGregor, you got to go through like 12 layers of like management. But like in jiu-jitsu, it's like, hey man, what's up? You want to fight for me? Like on Instagram, like it's real like informal. Like it's still really amateurish for a professional sport. But like getting back to what your question was saying, but the matches that I've wanted to make, I've kind of gone out and made them. But one that's kind of that really hurt was when we had Keenan versus Miragali. We had that match first, and they ended up giving it away for free at Worlds because they ended up meeting the week before our event at Worlds. They fought each other. So the week before our second event, our main event, gone. They fought at Worlds. But Keenan Miragali at the time was like my white rhino. I wanted that one. But moving forward, I'd love to see. I want to still see Gordon Ryan versus Gaudio, maybe. I want to see how that would go. But I don't know. Gordon versus Kynan would be good. Now that Kynan's gotten a lot bigger, I'd like to see. And that's not a steroid joke. That's not
No, that's not what I meant. It was just like there's a lot of guys dude, there's going to be a lot of guys that put on a lot of size. Like I just saw Tom DeBlas's picture on Instagram the other day.
Yeah.
Or this morning, he said he's up to 253 pounds. That's almost my size.
Bro, I am sitting here right now with this the COVID-19 caloric intake. It's like exponential calories. I've been eating. I haven't trained in a month. Like it's getting serious.
Everybody's going to be moving up into my weight class now for freaking tournament. Fuck.
Yeah, here you go. Get ready. But no, with the matches, I want to make the JT Torres Lucas Valente match was one I was really like. I think from a jiu-jitsu nerd standpoint, I was like, I really wanted that. Lucas is a direct professor of mine. Like I train with him every day, but he's also got, I think, the best guard of jiu-jitsu. And then JT is one of the best guard passers in jiu-jitsu. And so it just made sense for that match. But coming out of this, I want to see some more wrestler grappler. I want to see, I don't know. I mean, Tommy Langenker versus anybody. I want to see either him versus Edwin still or him versus Gabriel Arges. I'd like to see that. Let's see. Nogi, I still want to see William Tackett versus, if nobody's going to make it, I'll make the Wagner versus William Tackett match.
Yeah. Yeah, that would actually be pretty good. And we just had JT last week. What about if you have Gordon do his what was it, $20,000 challenge to people? Because him and Lachlan were going back and forth
They're just talking, dude. None of these guys are about it. They're all talking shit, but it's all it is. It's all shit. I think Gordon would be the only one to really go through with it because he's that fucking petty. Yeah. He'll be like, oh, what? Because he'll be like, I'll bet you $20,000 that I'll fight you. Somebody's like, all right, motherfucker, here's $20,000. He would do it.
Sure.
He's not fronting when he's doing this stuff. But I think a lot of everybody else talking all this shit, like the Kayatera Musameki challenge. I think Mikey, would really go out there and fight these guys. But as you have seen, the match still hasn't happened.
Oh, Santos for sure was I think Herbert Santos playing that one out saying oh man, everything's going to get shut down. Yeah. I'll do it.
Dude, he did the same shit with us. When I booked him versus Gordon, I went into that knowing that he was going to pull some bullshit because he hadn't been training Nogi, he hadn't been doing anything. But the Gordon and him ship talk was just so epic. While we were waiting to we found the Bo Nickel match. We were waiting to get that done. I was like, this should be a fun distraction. So me and Gordon kind of, we were already planning the replacement. We knew. And then he started demanding, I want first class tickets for me and my coach. I want this. I want that. I want this on demand. And then I want this taken out of the rules and no heel hooks and just everything started changing. And then finally I was just like, look, man, like, but he understood it. He knows it's a business. He's smart. He's like, look, brother, no hard feelings. You got the PR out of it. I got the PR. Have a good one. One of the, he's not stupid. Like he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. So, but those guys, man, they're characters. Flow Grappling likes to push characters because Flow Grappling's real, I guess, like numbers oriented, like analytics. So they're looking at what posts are popping, who's here when they do their podcasts. So they're looking, that's how their content is driven. So if you're seeing a bunch of Gordon or a bunch of Herbert or a bunch of that's because motherfuckers what they're looking at, you know, especially in
in a niche sport like ours. I mean, you know, if you can catch it while the buzz is hot, then you're guaranteed to get it going.
You know, it's funny. Speaking of Mikey, I would love to start seeing him do some of these one-match these one-match super fights or whatever. He doesn't do them, like I haven't seen him do one of them.
No, he wants to do it. I've reached out and talked to him. It just was bad timing, but I definitely would like to see like Mikey versus Keenan or something fun like that. You know,
like you want a freak show?
Yeah, of course. I love the dude. Listen. My background. I love pro wrestling. I love Pride. I love Japanese MMA. I love the theatrics. I love the show. I love it all. Like I want to make Third Coast Grappling reputable, but also a little gimmicky, like because I want it to like the Royal Rumble. I want to do a triple threat match where we have 3 guys in there at once and just say go, and whoever last man standing wins. Like I want to do crazy stuff like that just to see. Like,
listen, I got a good grappling match that for sure is going to be a freak show that would get you a ton of fans. JZ Cavalcante against Shinya Aoki.
Oh, fuck. Dude, I remember that fight. And I think it was Dream when they fought, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Listen, I fucked up bad one day because Jay-Z comes and trains in my gym once in a while, and we were doing Nogi class, and for some reason I just felt like breaking out my Aoki spats, like those rainbow spats. Like I love those things.
Fuck.
So I wore them that day, and then next thing you know, Jay-Z comes in. I'm like, oh, fuck. And then he's like, come on, let's roll. He's like, you had to wear those today. I was like, I had no clue you were coming. My bad.
I owe him a match, man. I've been a big fan of him for a while. There was some stuff that got offline because like there after about June through damn near like October, we were in litigation with Flow Grappling for a little bit. We got sued for, I can't go into it because of confidentiality stuff, but we fought him back on it. And I think through it came out much stronger, more respect, a better deal, a better relationship. But during that time, man, like we were planning to have to either get ready to go on a platform for pay-per-view, or we were having to plan a platform to be back on Flow Grappling. So it was like planning to do events on pay-per-view at the time. We were talking with like Josh Leduc and those guys, and we were like, okay, well, this is what we're going to project. And at the time, our number projections for pay-per-view, we would have ended up like Substars, because a lot of what Substars did was kind of like what we were doing. Because I talked to Mike Cipriani, and I talked to all those guys back in the day when we were talking about doing our own thing and doing pay-per-view and all that. And a lot of the ideas that we saw them do, it was like watching our nightmare unfold. I was like, oh man, like they're going too big with it. Like I know how much Anthony Johnson alone, that guy, that guy's
the venue itself, dude. When I walked where they held that show, it was like, are you kidding me?
No, when I knew the Fillmore from my music days, and when they announced that it was at the Fillmore and tickets had just gone on sale like 3 weeks or 2 weeks before the event, I was like, y'all are fucked. I was like, I'm telling you.
I had the same argument. People don't get like the Fillmore is such an epic venue, so to have it for a grappling event, like, bro, you just blew your wad.
I said it had to cost at least 15. You said $100,000, but like
they probably had to pay 50 grand for that venue.
It was 50 grand is the number that I said, plus everything else for the cost for the lights.
They have to do all the other stuff like the production cost, the rider, the streaming, and basically everybody. Dude, they were. I don't know.
Liquor permits, even the liquor permits and the insurance and everything. It's just going to sit there and just right up your butt, man.
And so that's why I'm fortunate with my venue. Like a lot of people don't get it. They're like, why are you using music venues? I'm like, look, number one, music venues are set up with production in mind already. I don't have to go own all my equipment like Seth does. Seth does it. He travels everywhere, and he invested like millions of dollars in it. And good for him. That's his model, works for him. But I have my network of talent buyers and people that run music venues throughout the country. I can hit up Cali. I can hit up New York. I can hit up and say, hey, I want to come into town. Generally, I'm not paying a venue rental fee. And if I am, it's a very small deposit just to hold the date. And we go out there. But those stages are already set up well enough. We bring in our video wall behind it. We get all the TVs tuned into the stream. And, then we have our VIP areas. And then we normally have another area set up on the other side, a big area with a big projector showing it and like so I don't know, man. There's just, there has to be so much more thought that goes into it than just saying, I'm going to rent a venue. I'm going to have somebody else book my matches and I'm going to throw a mat on the floor and we're going to call it an event.
Yeah. People don't get it. Like the second that you start seeing numbers for the TV backdrop, like the wall, the light rig. Oh, you want the cage? You want the Metamoris look? Like, good luck. Have fun with that one, man. You want the sound rig? Now you got to go in and have all the speakers pulled up, and then you got to pay the union, and then there's going to be no, man. Like that's
dude. I tell you what, Substars before they went into that big venue, the things that they were doing in like the breweries and stuff like that was rad, man. It was like it was
cool.
It was like a cool atmosphere. It was like it reminded me of Lionheart, like the Van Damme movie back in the day. Yeah. I'm like, that's like a cool idea. Like do this shit guerrilla style, and it comes off cooler. As soon as they went to that huge thing, I walked in and the first thing I said is, oh, they're losing their ass.
Yeah, but that popularity that you get from putting on events and then like the cheers and stuff, that goes to your head real quick, and you end up biting off more than you can chew.
Well, we started off small too, like him. Like we started off with a venue that was much smaller. Another good connection I had, a friend of mine that I used to work at the venue. I was a talent buyer and stuff like that, but it was a smaller venue, about 1,000-person venue. And we sold it out worse than it's ever been sold out like that for our first show. And that's when we were like, all right, we've got to move up. So we went to another venue, a 2,000 cap. And now everybody's like, why don't you go to a bigger venue? Why don't you do this? I'm like, look, guys, when I could say my show's on sale and it sells out instantly and we can cover our profit, we can all make a little bit of money, the fighters can make some money, I'm going to be happy there. Because then, you know what? I've got guys from AEG, Live Nation, the biggest concert producers and tour promoters in the world that have talked to us about bringing us on. And if we get signed to them, we basically have their bankroll and any access to any venue in the country we want to do. And all these big jiu-jitsu meccas, we can just go in there, jump in a music venue, tap the local market, have them sell tickets, bring in 3 or 4 big names, and boom, and we can replicate our show wherever we want. So, I mean, it's because we use music venues. We don't have all that overhead of the traveling costs and all that stuff.
Quit putting all your secrets.
Yeah.
I'm just letting people know I'm not a dumbass like everybody thinks. I'm not just like one of these guys that just jumped into this. Oh man, I'm just going to come out here and make this big, like everything we do is so well thought out of. My partner is a West Point grad, one of the smartest guys I know. He's a fucking, he's an engineer. The people on our teams, my other partner, she's like a super computer programmer. We've got, infectious disease specialists. I've got really smart people around me. I'm a dumbass sometimes, but I surround myself by really smart people that can give me great advice and let me make my own decisions. Yeah. So we're not going anywhere. We're here for the long term. And, we're going to make it up to the guys, the matches that got canceled. And we're going to, when this thing gets back going, man, we hope to talk with you guys again, hopefully, and have y'all out and, see how
I'll be there. Just give me that photo pass. I'll be there for sure. You don't even need to question it. I'll be there for sure. So it's all good.
I'll bring a gi just in case someone drops out.
Hey, I'm ready. Hey, me and you we can warm them up. Me and you, gi versus gi.
Let's do it.
Let's go. All right, brother. I'll let you get going. I know you still got to eat and everything. We've been on here.
Wait. He can't go yet. One last question.
Oh, fuck.
Top 3 Netflix shows in your quarantine. Go.
Tiger King. I just finished season 1 of Ozark. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I waited so long to watch Ozark. Me and my wife have been like I think she had like a panic attack watching the season finale of season 1. Like last night, I was like, it was fucking wild, man. And then probably after that has been that man, what's that other show we watched? So I don't watch a lot of TV because I've been watching a lot of the news and doing that, but yeah, definitely Ozark has been our thing. The Tiger King, and then those are, I can only give you 2 right now. That's all I've watched.
All right, I'll take it.
That's funny.
What's y'all's? I want to hear y'all. So maybe I have some new shit. What am I missing?
Go for it, Shawn.
I blazed through the 2nd season of Altered Carbon. Like just boom, went through it. Blazed through Tiger King. Love those. I think what I've been doing the most though, believe it or not, has been watching old punk documentaries.
Dude, I've been watching old music concerts. My wife and I'll lay in bed and I'm like, babe, you got to watch this epic performance from Pearl Jam in 1993. And she's like, holy fuck, that's badass. He jumped off the speakers. You know, I don't know. It's been a lot of fun just going back and doing shit I didn't realize how much I was not living because of I was living for jiu-jitsu and my events and stuff, but the other shit that I wasn't doing because I was doing jiu-jitsu, I'm falling in love. I'm playing guitar again. I mean, life's good.
Yeah,
man.
No TV for me, man. I'm stuck on the computer all day working and doing a bunch of stuff. So as soon as I'm done, it's guitar, going outside, playing with my dog, and man, I can't even think. I think the most that I've been doing is just watching history documentaries. Working on the stock market. I'm trying to make some money with the stocks.
Well, I watched a lot of Viking documentaries recently.
You look like a Viking documentary kind of guy.
don't. Oh, shit. See, now you hyped them up.
I want to see you in a Viking helmet here at 3CG4 if you're coming out.
I got one.
I believe it.
Here, this is actually what I've been working on. Actually, this is the one thing I have been working on since we haven't shown it.
Oh.
Get a load of this thing.
Dude, that's dope.
It's a cardboard samurai outfit.
It's the whole shit. It's the whole armor and everything.
That's what Substar should have done. They should have just used cardboard instead of the real samurai outfits.
Listen, man.
And they could have saved some money there, too.
Oh, for sure. Listen, I looked up that armor that the guy had on, and it was a good couple of grand. I'm like, man, I wish I had that money to burn, so I'm doing the stocks instead. Hey,
they had balls. They went for it. I feel bad for the guy in a way now because you know what? I didn't even not stiff my fighters, and I still had to deal with a bunch of bullshit. Yeah. So I feel bad for the guy. He's a veteran. You know, he seemed like a nice enough guy, but I think he just had the wrong people around him that were looking out for their athletes and not really his event. And I don't think it gets kind of weird, you know, with dealing with some of these people. So yeah, I'm not going to kick the guy anymore down while he's down. I hope he finds a way to pay the fighters.
Yeah, I hope he finds a way back. It was a great event.
Yeah.
I just hope I hope he can find a way back. You know, just look. Crawl before you walk before you run before you fly. That's the lesson.
Don't book to film more.
Or run like we did really fast as we were like new snowboarders. We were just going down the mountain and falling instead of learning how to stop. And eventually you fall so many times that you're like, hey, this is how you stop. And then so this is it's kind of where we're at now. But no, things are getting good, man. We're excited. I think once we all get out of this, it's going to be a lot of good jiu-jitsu on the other side.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, especially all healed up. But, all right, we'll let you go. Just for everybody, if you want to follow Ryan and the whole Third Coast team, you can check them out on Facebook at Third Coast Grappling with the number 3 RD, at Third Coast Grappling on Instagram, and also check out the YouTube channel and check out the podcast. You have the Third Coast Grappling podcast as well. So make sure you guys follow and support even when there's no events going on, because it's just going to make things a lot better and bigger for when we all get back on the mats. So, Ryan, thanks again for doing this, man.
Right on, man, guys. This was fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Anytime you want, you're always welcome here, brother.
Hey, right on, man. Y'all take care.
Take care, brother. Be safe.
Thanks.
That's it, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to Ryan from Third Coast Grappling for joining us. We really appreciate it. It was great to finally get some insight of everything that happened with his events. Like I said, don't be afraid to follow Third Coast Grappling and support them even without the events going on right now. They're doing some great work, and they're actually doing a lot to push grappling. So check out all the links. They're going to be in the description below. Or if you're listening to us on Stitcher or iTunes or wherever, the links will be directly on the description of the podcast. And you can always check out jiu-jitsuradio.com for all the podcasts, for everything that you need. Don't forget to check out our supporters and our sponsors, Choke Aloha, Jiu-Jitsu Soap Co., and Giraffe Choke. They got all the hookup and all the stuff you need. Make sure you use the promo code. Support us by supporting them. It kind of works that way.
No, give us money.
Yeah.
I want that.
Well, we're not making any money off of that.
Put it right there.
But if you go to jiu-jitsuradio.com and check out the online store, you can pick up a shirt, and you can pick up the soon-to-come collab soap that's coming out. That'll be on there as well. Anything you buy off of jiu-jitsuradio.com is going to go directly to supporting all this and all that's going on over there, because that's what helps keep this party going. So thank you very much for all your support. Please be sure to share the podcast, subscribe, do whatever you got to do to help us out. If you don't like it, too bad. Go fuck yourself. We'll catch you guys next week.
You can't leave her.
deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence, and nobody can hang with my stuff.
Get stealing, woo, wheeling, dealing, limousine right, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!